You ever feel like you're just stuck in a loop, reacting to things in the same old way, even when you really wish you wouldn't? Well, today, we're going to get into how to break free from those patterns and reclaim your creative power. We're talking about how to go from wounded to creator. So let's start with this idea, because it's a big one. What if success isn't about getting more stuff or climbing some ladder? What if it's about becoming so at peace with your past that the outside world just can't throw you off balance anymore? It's all about finding that neutrality. But what's throwing us off balance in the first place? Well, the answer, a lot of the time, lies in these old mental scripts that we're all running on complete autopilot. So what are these scripts? Just think of them as these automatic programs that got hardwired into us from our past experiences, especially the ones that left a mark, a wound. So when a similar situation pops up today, that script just activates and boom, we react without even thinking about it. And here's the real kicker. When one of those scripts takes over, we become hookable. Something someone says or something that happens can hook right into that old wound and trigger that automatic reaction. And here's the crucial part. Every single time this happens, we are leaking our precious creative energy. It's kind of like these scripts make us wear colored glasses. If you've got the jade lens on from an old wound, you see everything negatively. You take it all personally. Then on the flip side, you might have a rose lens that makes you kind of delusional, just ignoring reality altogether. The goal isn't to pick a better color. It's to take the glasses off completely and see the world through a clear lens. That's neutrality. Okay, so if these scripts are the problem, how in the world do we find them and rewrite them? Well, this next idea, honestly, it's a total game changer. It's realizing that your triggers are actually a map. Think about it. We're usually taught to avoid our triggers, right? To see them as these threats to our peace. But what if we flipped that whole idea on its head? What if every single trigger wasn't a problem, but was actually a gift? And this is exactly why. A trigger is a map. It's like a big X that marks the spot, pointing you directly to the wound that's fueling that old script. It's basically an invitation to stop, look inward, and take back the personal power you've been losing in that automatic reaction. So, we have the map. Now what? How do we actually read it and use it to find the treasure? Which, by the way, is our own reclaimed energy. This brings us to a really simple 3-step process. Let's call this the inner alchemy. It all starts with awareness. That's just the moment where you notice, whoa, my piece is gone. A script must be running. Then comes investigation. You just get curious. Ask yourself, why did that bother me so much? What's the old story behind this? And finally, there's reclamation. Once you see that old story, you can consciously choose not to feed it anymore. You can literally visualize breathing your energy, your life force, back into your own center. And when you start to practice this process again and again, something pretty incredible starts to happen. You begin to transform into a state of true creative freedom. You become unhookable. This is that state of neutrality we were talking about at the beginning. It's when you are so at peace with your past that all those hooks people and events used to use on you, they just don't work anymore. They just slide right off. I mean, just think about it for a second. All that energy you were spending on those automatic reactions, defending old wounds, feeling hurt, it's all yours again. You suddenly have this massive surplus of life force that you can direct toward what you actually want to build and create in your life. And at its absolute highest level, this unhookable state leads to something the ancient Greeks called agape. It's this unconditional love for what is. You're not trying to fix or change anyone else because you realize that would just create another hook. You're just present, radiating your own energy. Now, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's look at a real-world example of someone rewriting their script right in the moment. So yeah, how can someone actually catch and rewrite one of these scripts in the heat of the moment? So picture this. Musician Jacqueline Rendell does a live stream. She's committed to showing up consistently, but only 2 people attend. And immediately she feels that old, familiar, sinking feeling. The script that starts running in her head is one she knows really well. No one cares. What I'm doing just doesn't matter. But this time was different. She caught it. That's the awareness step. And in that moment, she made a brand new choice. She literally said nope and just refused to let that script dictate her reality. She consciously decided not to make the low attendance mean what it used to mean, that she wasn't good enough. And get this, in that single moment of conscious choice, She broke a 30-year pattern of self-doubt. 30 years! She refused to let the external event hook her. She stayed in her power, she reclaimed her energy, and she rewrote that script for good. This story really shows the power that we all have. We can become aware of our scripts, we can use our triggers as a map, and we can choose a new response. So the question I'll leave you with is this: what old story, what familiar script are you finally ready to rewrite?